Okay, guys, so I know there's one version already up, but this is going to be the first of 3 different iterations of binary to decimal. These are not the only ways, but these seem to be the most popular, and people wanted options because it is kind of a new thing, especially if you're not familiar with converting to number systems. This is really all the code is. I want to input a binary value, and then I will spit out a decimal value. This can be done without arrays, several different ways, but it's not just a simple one line of code thing. So there's different steps to do it in. The first way I'm going to do it is really the quickest way that we could have gotten into this, and that's just by using math methods and simple math at that. So I realize I need to have a scanner, and everything else is going to be internalized inside the code. So I've got my skeleton set up, and so I need to prompt the user. It would be nice and use all their stuff. Enter a binary value. Okay, make an integer so that I can store it. And then everything else. Okay, so we list that again and then there. Okay. So we say binary is, make sure that's right. Oh no, just is equal to. All right. And we leave that there. We make sure it's a print statement because we're going to put our value there when we're finished and nothing else. So I'm leaving this print statement hanging intentionally. Let's not even do for loop. Let's just do while. While binary is greater than 0. Because that way we've got our control variable automatically. What I want to do is I want to use my mod and my division. Okay, so I know I'm going to get some kind of binary system. Well, if I make a temp value to be binary, thank you, mod 10, that's going to take one place value off the very end and will store it for us. Okay, so I'm taking the mod of 10, which means I'm saying, hey, what's the remainder of 10? If it's a 0, it's 0. If it's 1, it's 1. Those are my only options for binary. I also need a 2 power. We'll just call this POW and set that equal to 1. So what I need is, do I want an accumulator? Yes, I do. Okay, so I've got 2 accumulating values beforehand. The first one is just going to be our holder. Decimal is, I'll just do plus equal. All right, so I need to take the temp value because that's going to be my 0 or the 1, and that's going to multiply by math method how, and it's going to be the power of 2 to whatever POW is. Because remember, I'm starting from the right side, so my significant values for 2 are 2 to the first, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, the fourth, the fifth, and they get larger as I move to the left. Okay. And binary divide equal 10, so that actually updates our value. Okay, so if I took something like this, this is going to grab that first 1 on the right. This is going to calculate 2 to the first power, or actually, I guess POW should be 0 then. 2 to the 0 power, which was just 1, and it adds 1 to decimal. So I've got the 1 taken care of. This line restricts and gets rid of that last value on the side, because remember, integer division. So I round cut off anything missing, and so now I've just got 110. This one comes through again. Now I grab the 0. 0 is not going to do anything, so even when I multiply right here, it doesn't add anything to the value. This cuts the 0 off. Now I'm down to 11. This grabs that right-handed 1. PAL has increased every time, as I told it to. So that the 0 had the PAL as 1. This 1 right here, PAL is now 2. So that will add 4 to decimal. So I'm up to 5. PAL increases again to 3. This temp grabs the last 1. PAL is now to the 3rd power, which adds an 8 to it. So 5 plus 8. So this would be 13. Okay. The reason I left this hanging at the beginning was because I knew I would be messing with binary. It's not required. I could have made a copy of it, but this just leaves things simple. So now I finish off the print statement. I've already got the equals, so now I just need the decimal value. And then I'm done. Okay, so let's try this out. 1101 should be 13. I need to take a print statement off. Good. Let's get another test value from them. 1010 is 10. Make sure that lines up right. There you go. All right, guys, this is part 2. This is finding the decimal value of a binary number using string methods. So again, we're still not using arrays yet, but it is still very doable. So we need to do the value binary, value decimal. I think I've messed up on the first one. Anyway, so again, it's going to start off very similar. I've got my skeleton code set up. I've got my scanner ready. So of course, I need to prompt the user. And again, I'm just going to grab what they asked. Okay. This time I'm saving whatever they type as a string. Okay. Binary scan dot next. I could go next line, but I just want to avoid any potential ideas that they've got spaces or something weird in there. That will grab just the number. All right. Very similar to last time. I go ahead and do my starting value. I do binary concatenate binary equals, and I leave that hanging. Okay, I take off the ln. It's waiting because again well, I don't think I'm going to actually manipulate this time because I can use substring to isolate it, but it's there just in case. While I'll come back to that after I figure out what's going on. So what I need to do, I still need to make a temp value. Only this time my temp value is going to be, actually, because I know exactly, this is going to be a for loop. So int I equals binary dot length minus 1. I is greater than equal to 0, and I minus minus. So strings start with an index of 0 at the beginning and move to the end. Since I'm going to be reading this backwards, this is how I want to express that for loop. I also need my counter variable. Again, I'll start at 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a substring. So binary dot substring. I want to make sure I grab just one value starting at the end. So that's going to be I plus 1. There it is. That's going to grab either a 1 or a 0. Now at this stage, this is where I need an if test. So if temp dot equals, because remember I'm dealing with strings, a 0, I continue. I do nothing. I technically don't even need to have this here, okay? So I'm just going to ignore it. If it equals a 1, however, oh, I also need my accumulator, which is also 0. So if it equals that, so decimal plus equal, this should be very familiar because it's what we had in part 1. Math.pow, power of 2, and the variable pow. And that will get added to whatever's inside of decimal. Okay? Pow is going to increment. If there's 0 there, it'll skip the if, but it'll still do there. Yeah, I like the fact that we don't have to deal with decimal or with continue yet. Okay, I think that will work. And right here, we'll finish off value. So decimal, and that should work. Okay, let's try this out. 10, 10 is 10. Okay, I need a space there. And 11010, 26. There you go. That's part 2. All right, guys, here's the third and final method for solving binary to decimal conversion. This is what was supposed to go down. So this one's going to use our arrays. It's going to use a split method. It is still going to use strings, but this is ideally, I think, where he was trying to go with this assignment. Got my skeleton set up. And so, again, I start things off prompting the user. Okay? Still going to grab a string, and this one's just going to be binary scan dot. Again, I'm going to go for next because I need a string to get started with, which means I also need to go ahead and make an empty string and declare it so that it's ready to go. Actually, now that it's there, I can go ahead and get it going. So that will be binary dot split with an empty string so that every single number gets its own box. Okay. I do still need my values. So there's my power, and then decimal, which is also 0. And so now I'm ready for a for loop. So this time everything is split in my array. So I've got my index values, they're all isolated, and it's great. They are still strings, so I still am going to have to use the if test. I have not yet told you how to manipulate data types, how to turn a string into an int and vice versa. So again, we read in the value, but this one's a little bit easier. So temp bracket I. Oh, yeah, I guess we need to do this. So int I equals, we'll go bin.length minus 1. No curly brackets this time because it's an array. I is greater than equal to 0. I minus minus. So if, actually this one already goes through one at a time. So, oh no, we're still testing. Okay, so if, again, like before, we really only need the 1. Okay, so that starts at the end, that moves backwards. Okay, so when that's there, this is where I take decimal add equal how to comma how. After that, how plus plus. Because a decimal, or because the array is already isolated individually, I don't have to use a temp value like I did in the other two cases, because they're already isolated that way. So short of having a parse, that looks good. Oh, I need to. Okay, so this one I never actually interfered with binary, so I only need the one value here. Concatenate binary equals, I have the variable decimal, then I have the string decimal. Okay. 26, good. Let's do 13. Okay, so there's three different ways of solving these. Pick which one makes the most sense. Use each as examples, how you see fit. So good luck.